Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be using the header with number circle block. All right, so we have a brand new blank page here, and we're going to show you the problem that we're trying to solve in this video. So we have the heading advanced block here, and this is a heading. And typically, when we set up our pages or posts, the title of the page itself will be set as H1, and every single heading thereafter is H2 and below. And this is perfectly fine when we just want to have static text or there's no linear progression or hierarchy among each one of the headers. So, one cool thing that we can do, or one simple thing rather, is just we can put one or we can have bullet points, but that's really boring and it's not very pretty to look at. We can put an icon beside this and it's not that nice. All right, so this is a plain. So we're going to take a look at the heading with circle number. And you can see we can change it over here and it's set to 2, but we can go ahead and just like set that to 1. And we can take a look at here and we have basically the same kind of controls as a header block, but the difference is we have a number here within a circle. And you can see over here we have content. So here we go. This is the heading area, and then this is your subtitle area. And you don't have to change it here. You can just go ahead and click here and then rearrange it how you like. So first, let's talk about setting the circle size. So let's close everything up first, okay? And go over here, extra heading element. And it's going to be a number and circle, and there's going to be a few different ones to choose from. But we're going to go with number and circle. And we can add a shadow to it. We can change the number over here. We can change the position, right? We can have it on both or none. And we can change the width, and 40 is a good one. Again, it really depends on, it really depends on what you're working with, but generally 40 is a good size to have. For margin, we'll adjust that later, and we can make it bigger or smaller, and the stroke width for 2 or 3 is pretty good for readability already. So if we wanted to, we can go ahead and align this how we want, right? We can also justify the elements within the block itself, and keeping it aligned like this or like that, probably on bottom for this example since we're using both the title and the subtitle. All right, so let's go ahead and add in some text and see where this goes. Okay, we're going to call this one preparation. And over here, let's put in some lipsum. Okay, and you can see that it changes how everything looks like once we have our content inside. Now, we can keep it like this, and usually it's plain and fine if we just keep it like this for some simple content. And you can go ahead and align this like this or align this like that. Really, it depends on which one you want. So right now, I kind of want to keep it on the top here. And if we duplicate this, we'll have 3 different ones here. 2, and over here, 3. The execution, and over here, the fine verdict or conclusion or whatever. And right now, this is perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and add some, we'll put this into containers, and we can distinguish these, um, plain and simple. Let's put a background on this container, right? And then let's add some, let's add a spacer here. Just keep them separated. And then over here, this is our circle number headings. Now, this looks perfectly fine. But, if we're going to roll with the idea of progression, sometimes on some types, you might see a connector line between each one of the numbers. So let's go ahead and duplicate these. Okay, and we'll have the same set, and then we're going to put them inside a box container. Right, we'll just drag and drop that over here, and put this here, put this one under, if it's possible. There you go. And you can see they're inside this box container. And we can keep this one separate by putting a background onto this. Background color, let's make it light yellow, just so we can see the difference between these. And we can add a line. So how are we going to add a line? We're going to go here under our box container itself, and we're going to go add some padding to the left. So spacing on the left side, maybe 40 pixels, and it's going to move everything over. And we're going to go over down to the border tab and add a left border of maybe, let's say 2 or 3 pixels. Let's say 2 pixels or 3 pixels should be fine. We'll put a line. There you go. And how do we set this up? So this is fine as is if you wanted to, but what we want to do is we want to align the numbers themselves. So let's go back into each one of these advanced headings, and let's add a margin. Oops, no, I think that was fine. Let's go ahead and add a margin to the left of -50, or maybe 58, or 50, or let's just try 60. Okay, and you can see that the number goes on the line. And let's do this for the same ones over here. Ideally, you'd want to start this off as save this as a pattern, or start off with this at first and then add in your next steps. Let's go ahead and do this, -60, and then the same with this, -60. -60, okay? And you can see that they're all on the line. But the problem now is they're intersecting, excuse me. And you can see straight through the element. So extra heading element again. Let's change the fill color to white, keep things simple. Okay. Over here, and it's going to be automatic from now on since we've adjusted the spacing and the headings themselves are within the box container. Let's go ahead and add in the color. There you go. So that's a really great way of customizing the elements besides just how they appear plain stock in GreenShift. So that's a cool little pro tip life hack for you. And now let's go ahead and take this a little further. What is another way that we can use these numbered headings? All right. So now let's try to make a new custom heading or a custom layout type. So we're going to go ahead and add in a box container and add in a couple of columns. Okay, 1, 2. And over here, we're going to put in our heading on the top. And we can put that over here and put that on top of that. Okay, and we can change this to 1 again. We're going to call this the beginning. And let's go ahead and disable the subtitle. right? You can just go ahead and disable that. And we can go ahead and add in some content. So here we have our image library, image advanced. Let's just plop this in. And then over here, we can put in some advanced text and then just paste in our text right there. And then for here, we can align everything to the middle, or really it depends on what we want to do. And we can align everything like that, keep that in the middle, or probably like that is fine. And then we can add some margin for the top, so maybe 15, and then for the bottom, negative 15. Oops. More or less, I should say. There you go. And with this, we can have a zigzag kind of layout if you wanted that. So we'll keep this one here, and let's go ahead and duplicate this. And then instead of having it on this side, let's go ahead and mess with the element, and let's justify this on the right side. And let's go ahead and change this. So we can replace this with media library, replace this with a different image. Ooh, that's an incredibly small image. Okay, there we go. And we can swap these columns over. And for this one, right, since it doesn't really look too good when the element is on this side. So you can either have it be all centered up, or we can go ahead and put this after, right? And then we'd have to just simply align it like that. And then, or, if it doesn't really make sense, we can just change the alignment like that. And then we can duplicate this again. Okay. All right, there we go. And then number 3 over here. Let's go ahead and replace this just so it's easier to look at once we're all done. Okay. Okay, so with this, what we could do is add in some a separator or a spacer or something, and we can a wide line just like that, no margins, color red, and then we can just plop this down in between them, just to give them some space and it doesn't look so boring like that. Okay, so far we have a few different options on how you can utilize the number heading to make your site look very cool, custom, and professional. So next, let's go ahead and see what we can do when we use this block with the icons mode. So rather than having the numbers in a progression, we can keep them probably just like this and have icons on there rather than just numbers. So over here, let's go ahead and make a features list. So over here, let's go ahead and put in a heading. So let's call this features list. And let's make sure that's inside our box over here. Features list. And okay, so let's go ahead and change this one into a feature. So, okay, oops, I accidentally pressed the pause button. And you'll see that under extra heading element, and you've seen earlier that there is no icon mode, right? So how do we go about this, knowing this fact? So let's go ahead and just choose something like zigzag, and maybe we can make it a bit fatter. And we can go ahead and look for the icon box block here in the block inserter. And automatically, if we go over to document overview, it turns into a row, and we're going to get an icon box right beside it. Okay, so it's a simple workaround. Some blocks in other block libraries and themes, their number header comes with an icon mode, but this is a much more controlled kind of way because you have more control manually setting up the margins and spacing. So we're gonna make this a 40 by 40 block. Okay, we can set this up like this or like this if we wanted to. We can set it up like that. And we'll just keep it as is. And you can use the GreenShift rows if you wanted to. And we can align it like this or like this. And then this one, we can change the spacing and whatnot. Let's go ahead and take a look at the content extra heading element. We can arrange it to be somewhere like that. And then we can change the margins such and such. So let's go ahead and change the icon to something like battery. So battery life. And then we can go ahead and place in our ellipsum over here. And you can see that the tiny extra element here has disappeared. So let's go ahead and disable that. And we can go ahead and duplicate this row. And you can see battery life, brightness, and then over here, let's go ahead and choose bulb. And again, we can duplicate this again and then call this something else like Wi-Fi connectivity and Wi-Fi, or what could we use for Wi-Fi connectivity? Oh, there we go. I wonder what that was labeled as. And if you wanted to, again, we can add some separators, copy or duplicate, and then we'll just like smack those into here. And if that's not enough for you, we can add some margin to this and duplicate this one, and it's going to look just the same over here. So we have a features list, and it looks so good, despite being so simple. All right. Now let's go ahead and put a background to this box container, just so we can tell it apart from the other ones. Let's make this purple. Oops, where was that? Background color. Make it light pink or light purple. Okay. So let's go ahead and click on Publish and take a look at our finished work here. All right, so there you have it. Number with circle, heading with circle number block. Let me double check what that is. Heading with circle number block in GreenShift. So here you have a plain and simple heading, simple H2. And here's what you have on the default settings for the heading with circle number. Heading with circle number block. And you can see it works just fine as it is. There's some progression to what it is. But if you wanted to customize it, GreenShift or just WordPress in particular, just in general, I suppose, gives you the power to customize the spacing and move the numbers over. And we were able to utilize its default features, such as the border and margin and padding and background options, to add a progressive line that lets us follow along the numbers and the steps. Moreover, we can utilize this heading just as a plain and simple heading without using the subtitle text, and create a zigzag pattern over here and just use basic separator blocks in order to separate them, and it looks so professional. Now, if we didn't want to use the numbers in a progressive pattern, but this heading also gives us the ability to use the subtitle and customize it accordingly. And we also have the default icon box block within GreenShift that it provides, and we can just put this on a row, and we can make a simple features list like this to give simple and easy to read points for your users or readers in order for them to digest the information readily and immediately. Now, again, you could just probably type all of these things one by one with the plain and simple heading, the original heading. But what the value of this block is that it gives you the ability to quickly add to your site without having it be too laborious. Again, this number comes with it automatically. All you have to do is click on this and type it in, change the size, change the shape, change the color. Or in the case of the features list, we can do away with the circle number entirely, but it gives us this subtitle area to where we just have to fill in the blanks and we just type everything in, and we can save each one of these as a pattern or as a website template if we have, for example, a recipe website, and we can just have this as a template on GreenShift and just load it in and fill in the blanks or use custom fields. As you can see, we have the ability to use them for dynamic text. So in a future video, we might do that if you're interested in it. But for now, here's what you can do with the heading with circle number block in GreenShift and WordPress. If you found this video helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, as it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Show this kind of video to other nerds like us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, if you found this video helpful, be sure to check out one of our other videos, or go ahead and check out our channel and subscribe to see more content like this.